What happened to Asking Alexandria?
Oh my God! I wanna trade it for the world. I solidify myself this
I don't know off the top of my head of a band whose praised early discography in the Myspace days has been completely overshadowed by endless turmoil and controversy in every aspect. From onstage meltdowns to band member changes, to confusing audiences around the world. Asking Alexandria has seen it all, and while the band continues to have a support system regardless of who is active and inactive with the group and the endless changes in music style, it's pretty clear this band has fallen far from the metalcore standouts they were once lauded as. And with every passing year, it feels like the remaining, or current band members at least, make things worse with terrible explanations or increasingly worse on-stage performances.
I feel bad about the show that everyone's upset about. It was Warped Tour DC. I feel bad about it, but not for the reason they want me to be. People were given a very, very, very poor representation of the show, and a very inaccurate one. In reality, it was a really good show.
This is not some legacy band either. They've had 8 albums come out in a 15-year span, and the group essentially lived on the road through several continents, playing major festivals, and it just got worse as the years went on. That party hard lifestyle caught up to them. There were events that were beyond the band's control that set the group back, but it can't be stressed enough how the attitude and quality of Asking Alexandria has burnt up like a house on fire down to hell with no dedication. When did this downfall happen? It was definitely before 2025, and while many people think it was in the mid-2010s when Danny Worsnop briefly left, I believe the downfall was much more gradual over time, while still having key events and a specific point that led to Asking Alexandria being circled by the wolves. Okay, I won't shoehorn any more song titles in. This is a group who had the platform, the label backing, the focus, the big stages, and over time, we've seen much more than diminishing returns, along with almost regular bad news for the group every other year, and I'm not even talking about the change in sound yet. It feels like anytime Asking Alexandria is brought up, it's in a negative light from how they used to be to how they are now.
I can't take you.
I want this video to prove a point as to what the biggest factor or factors were in the downfall of Asking Alexandria, while also making a big claim at the end that it does not have to be a lost cause. Metalcore, electronic core, backtracks, whatever the situation is now, Asking Alexandria doesn't have to end on such a massive downfall, but wow, the fall has been noticed. I'll go through time briefly and use album releases as time periods to make a point. From 2009 to present day, where we are asking, what happened to Asking Alexandria? The term Myspace band is appropriate, as in 2009, the band released Stand Up and Scream, which included 6 tracks from over the previous year, hosted on the Asking Alexandria Myspace page. This is metalcore in the birth of that metalcore explosion, with a lot of comparisons to Bring Me the Horizon at the time, being incredibly loud and incredibly British. This didn't just do well in England either. It charted a bit in the United States and was getting the appropriate amount of attention after online hype. The electronic side mixed with the metalcore worked for them, and even if it sounds a bit dated by today's standards in the production, this was a solid debut for 2009. You know how older Asking Alexandria fans complain about what the band sounds like now? Well, the older ones grew up with something like this from the beginning. Quite the difference from electronic beat boops and, 30 seconds to Asking Alexandria, for lack of a better analogy. Reckless and Relentless was where I think the rocket was put on the backs of Worsnop, Bruce, and everyone involved. The album debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 and boasted 6 singles, some of which were part of the mini-movie Through Sin and Self-Destruction. And boy, does that title of Through Sin and Self-Destruction sound apt as a title. This was more of a refined metalcore album, branching slightly into hard rock, and for many people, this was what Asking Alexandria fans regard as a favorite. Was it all sunshine and rainbows for Asking Alexandria during this 2-year run? Not quite.
Everyone who thinks I'm a drunk piece of shit, put their hands up. Ignore him. Who here thinks, who here will support us and putting my best friend through rehab and making it better. Put your hands up. Thank you so fucking much.
The party hard lifestyle the band was advertising as their own was not just a gimmick, as Danny Worsnop was spiraling out of control at this point. This onstage meltdown was one of the many treacherous moments, but this one happened in front of a live audience, and that was the breaking point for the band to do something. Rightfully so. After rehab, hitting the road hard in 2012, and a big Warped Tour spot, the rough times were still not over, as Danny Worsnop had a serious vocal cord injury, forcing the singer to sit out for a good amount of time. Asking Alexandria kept pushing on despite this being a lot for a young group to deal with after having a successful album cycle, the numbers to back it, and touring-wise, everything going strong. Well, successful in the books, I mean, like the math and the revenue. I mean, those live shows were getting pretty crazy, to be honest.
Hey kid,
Hi.
you wanna see something cool?
Is it bad?
My friend Sin is merely a matter of perspective.
Even though Worsnop had to be on vocal rest at the start of 2013, it didn't stop the new album from coming, as it was already recorded through the injury. From Death to Destiny was what I saw as the massive label-backed album to get Asking Alexandria into the mainstream. Did it work? Yeah, for the most part.
Oh, come on!
Just joking, it clearly worked for them. That was when Asking Alexandria started touring with Korn in the US, getting bigger spots in festivals around the world. From Death to Destiny was helping to boost up the group as flag bearers in the scene. This is where I chime in and say something that all of you probably already are aware of, but Asking Alexandria had that much of an upward trajectory and die-hard fans with them, but it was also Asking Alexandria that couldn't control themselves behind the scenes. Which is wild, because the music on From Death to Destiny sounded like the band was trying to mature. Meanwhile, the infighting was starting up again, and the images of drugs and women wasn't as prevalent. It was still clearly a lifestyle associated with Asking Alexandria, and a lifestyle that the band, or at least some of them, were still struggling with in various ways. To sum up, 2013 and that album cycle was big, but could have been bigger if so much drama and shenanigans weren't happening behind the scenes. Speaking of drama, it was in 2015 that the biggest Asking Alexandria fans questioned if the band was done, as Danny Worsnop left the group to work with the new band We Are Harlots. Ben Bruce would fill in as lead vocalist on the road until a new frontman was found. The news was not well received. Whether you like Asking Alexandria or not, Danny Worsnop had a unique voice and gave a lot of identity to the group. The singing was easily recognizable. So while Worsnop was planning to try his hand with We Are Harlot, Asking Alexandria had to start shopping around. At the time, people thought this would be the downfall, but I don't think so. Enter Denis Stoff from Ukraine, who had a good amount of experience and, according to Ben Bruce, was the perfect choice due to Stoff's bigger range and better live performing. All those compliments were given directly by Bruce when selling Stoff as the new singer. The Black arrived, and to the shock of many, it got decent press and reception. Denis Stoff worked well with the rest of the group, or at least on the Black it sounded like it all meshed, and Asking Alexandria seemed to have things getting back on track after a tumultuous path through success. That's a weird statement to make, but Asking Alexandria was living that true wild 80s rock and roll lifestyle for years, but decades after the 80s, and they were making it work while having their lives dragged around in the rough. 2016 saw the band trying to get more serious, and it was working. The Black should have marked a new direction for Asking Alexandria with a new singer while also placating older fans, and the Danny diehards could check out We Are Harlots. A rough breakout, but life moves on, so no more drama and confusing lineup changes, right?
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Turns out the parents can get back together to delight the broken-hearted scene kids. Emo brats can't complain about the divorce tearing them up anymore. Around October of 2016, the rumors were confirmed true that Denis Stoff was leaving and Danny Worsnop would be returning. We Are Harlot was essentially dead in its tracks, and communication was virtually cut off from Asking Alexandria to Denis Stoff. It sounds like a reunion for the original crew, but there were a lot of questions for the external parties that we wouldn't be explained about until much later, both Denis Stoff and We Are Harlots. For those keeping score, Worsnop left Asking Alexandria, worked with a new band, and then rejoined all in less than 2 years. I mean, you can't say he was just lying around doing nothing. In 2017, we got the Return album with Worsnop, and they self-titled it. The song Into the Fire became a radio rock staple in the second half of 2017, and touring really picked up big. On paper, this is exactly what the band needed to get back on top. The metalcore sound smoothed out just enough to be radio-friendly, while making the older fans happy that Danny is back. Problem was the live shows were now getting into a weird direction. On the first tour back with Worsnop, the band played little to no new material for the self-titled or the Black album. This was a key moment for my recognition of that era for Asking Alexandria. I can explain it because I saw them twice in a 6-month period, once on a co-headliner tour, once at a DWP festival. Both times, it felt like the band, everyone on stage, was just going through the motions. I'm not talking generic hype up and we love this city we're in, blah blah blah. The band wasn't even doing that type of stuff. They were just going through the songs, barely engaging with the crowd. They did that in 2 different states on varying size stages. This was 2017 going into 2018. To better illustrate this, I go to that festival performance. Welcome to Rockville 2018. Asking Alexandria had a strong afternoon crowd at a huge US festival, and I had a photographer friend named Garrett who had never seen Asking Alexandria and always wanted to. After we were shooting the band in the photo pit for the first 3 songs, we both left the pit. Garrett's fiance at the time and now wife Jennifer came up to him and asked how it was. Garrett responded about Asking Alexandria. I didn't like that at all. It still sticks out in my mind years later, seeing that mild disappointment. The accusations and rumors of Danny Worsnop not being able to do the screaming was having more validity as years went on. So, Asking Alexandria tried to figure out a way around it. With pandemic approaching at the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020, Asking Alexandria had plenty of time to plot and create and work on next steps. Those next steps led to electropop. I wish I was making that up. I remember hearing the single The Violence and listening to this cornball dopey verse in a sing-song manner and thinking this was the new direction to trend chase and cash in for Asking Alexandria. This isn't what Bring Me the Horizon did, who were really trying to branch out creatively over the years. This was Asking Alexandria trying to do less than what they were already doing. I'm not saying it was the worst part of 2020, musically or otherwise. What I'm saying is that it was the worst sound and style Asking Alexandria could have put out to try and stay relevant. That house was on fire and no one was coming to help put it out. In hindsight, maybe it was better that they couldn't do a tour with Like a House on Fire being fresh out. You know how a pandemic sometimes feels like a long, bad dream? Yeah, well, that's how I take this period for Asking Alexandria as well. Give it another year, and Asking Alexandria falls back in love with their roots and heavy side, or at least that's how Ben Bruce describes See What's on the Other Side. A quote from Ben Bruce about the single Alone Again and the rest of the album ended with, "No frills or cheap tricks, just the 5 of us playing our instruments as hard and as loud as we can." It was definitely better than Like a House on Fire. There were several collaborations. Asking Alexandria was trying to do better with touring around the world, and some things still felt off. Both heavy music fans and general music fans could still tell that someone needed to actually ask Asking Alexandria what was wrong. This was serviceable, safe rock from a band who was desperately trying to stay afloat. From 2009 to 2021, this group went from the next big thing to treading water. That's a good description of what Asking Alexandria was doing at this point. Where do we go from here is a great question, and also the title of the 2023 release. This was even further from the path of getting that focus and love back to music, or at least it sounded like a band going through the motions to make sure the SiriusXM Octane audience had something to listen to. Seeing Asking Alexandria go from metalcore to hard rock to electronic pop rock to radio rock is quite the whirlwind when you realize this is a group that reformed with a singer and was advertised as having found their love for music again just a few years prior. There was nothing to write home about, and that's a bummer. I don't know how much more meandering Asking Alexandria could get without something detrimental happening.
He was special.
I set that up the best I could. In 2024, we learned that founder and lead guitarist Ben Bruce was parting ways with Asking Alexandria. To my amazing AA family, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone for the years of love and support. It means more to me than you can imagine. I've spent my entire life dedicated to music. It's been my first love since about the age of 2, and the journey I've been on has been absolutely incredible as I've grown older and my life has inevitably changed. I have come to realize how precious time is. The time I've spent with all of you has been the time of my life, but now it's time to dedicate my life to my family. On top of family medical situations, leaving my children means missing out on too many important moments in their lives. It's so important for me to be there for them as they grow and to be here for my family as they need me to be, which means after a lot of thoughts, I will be stepping away from Asking Alexandria. Thank you to everyone who's come and seen me play live and listened to the songs I've written over the years. The memories will live on in my heart forever. I truly love you all so much for the years of support you've given me and Asking Alexandria. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is a fair statement and doesn't seem to have any controversy or bad feelings for the band. However, this is also the downfall of Asking Alexandria. Right here. Ben Bruce leaving appears to be the point of no return for the group. Without Bruce, who helped mitigate damage and steer the ship during rough times, Asking Alexandria is a bit aimless and would not be going back to the heavier roots anytime soon, if ever. Why do I say this? Because Danny Worsnop has other interests.
So much harder than the hard stuff.
Time to briefly talk about the country detour, because this is something that's been going on for years and is now seeping into Asking Alexandria live. Worsnop's solo career started as far back as 2011 when Worsnop was going through the mess, but his country vibes have been growing stronger over the years. Why do I bring that up? Because those live concerts with Asking Alexandria are starting to feature acoustic Worsnop and giving a touch of country flair. Whether you like it or not, he is passionate about that style and his solo work. If only that was the problem with his solo work. This was the infamous performance at Warped Tour in DC. The big spot later at night at this stop, including plenty of backtracks, no screaming or harsh vocals, and lots of darkness. I mean, I still don't know if we can confirm it was Worsnop under all that black in the bad lighting, the clothing, the mask and hood. All of it is just such an awful combo. I also don't know if any of the diehards at the DC stop stayed for the entire Asking Alexandria performance, as it was panned while it was going. The footage and shorts online were all pretty clear that this was a heartless performance of Asking Alexandria. So much so that bassist Sam Bettley apologized for it days later. I'm sorry. I mean, just seeing that and then responding to someone confirming it was about the DC show, I feel bad for the man. Bassists get enough jokes made about them, and now it's just piling on. Was that the shared response from everyone else in the band? Nope.
The band's front of house sound guy and monitor sound guy both quit before that tour. And there were pieces of equipment of theirs that they took with them we didn't know about. The show started and no one can hear anything. So I'm playing guesswork the whole time on whatever else is happening. Everyone else had the exact same thing. And then we weren't in control of anything that went to the stream. It had live drums. It had my vocal with no processing. I'm very dynamic. I get very loud and very quiet. At some parts, you just hear me and nothing else. Other parts, you can't hear me at all. So that's jarring. And then you hear live drums and nothing else. And that combined with what I am speculating to be a very lazy camera guy who, while I am running around jumping, being very enthusiastic, he was like, I'm not tracking this. And just waiting till I stood still. He's like, okay, now I'll film him. So it was just a combination of things that just really didn't give the people watching the live stream a positive experience at all.
Danny Worsnop made a ton of nonsense in this non-explanation. If anything, it made it sound more confusing. I remember when this interview was posted and we talked about it on our podcast, and my brain was just melting trying to figure out what he was doing. And it was during the Warped Tour DC aftermath, Denis Stoff was asked what he thought about the entire situation, and wow, did he not hold back, laughing at the performance and then digging up the dirt about how much money he was owed from the Asking Alexandria days. Also, both the band and Stoff confirmed there was little to no contact between the two parties after Stoff left. So, for almost a decade. Which is not great. And as Ben Bruce was no longer a part of this, do you think he was sitting at home after this aired and went, whew, glad I'm not there? Going back to that night in DC, that was a one-off. Anyone can have a bad performance or a bad presentation. How about the following Warped Tour performance at Long Beach the next month? That was okay, right?
Sing it!
Not exactly the high-octane sound I was expecting from Asking Alexandria, but at least we could see him. I mean, he's putting in a little more effort. The acoustic riffs and just ballads while people stayed silently and watched doesn't exactly make it look like a blast to be at Warped Tour. It's worth pointing out that as I'm making this video, Asking Alexandria is currently supporting Chevelle on tour. The tour is doing well, and Chevelle just released a new album, and I haven't heard many, if any, complaints about Asking Alexandria on that Chevelle support slot. That also might be because no one is talking about Asking Alexandria on this tour. There's not much to say, and the Chevelle fans are going to see Chevelle. And Chevelle fans are nice and don't want to talk bad about people. I'm struggling to find nice things to say about this 2025 situation with the band. Wow, Asking Alexandria has had a rough year.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
What's next? Well, this is a situation where Asking Alexandria could absolutely climb out of the hole they've created over the years due to apathy, abuse, or bad performances. The easy answer would be to get Ben Bruce back to help creatively in some way and help guide the ship, but if Bruce truly wants to be with his family and off the road, then it's unfair to ask him to clean up the Asking Alexandria mess after he spent years trying to keep that mess moving. The other option would be to make music that suits Worsnop's current vocal style that he'd be excited about, while also fitting that Asking Alexandria banner. Doesn't have to be full deathcore growls, but the band has done radio rock that no one questions is Asking Alexandria, so aiming for that might be a better choice, but they also have one more important thing. The band has to find their passion again. I mean, big time. That goes for live performances, creating music, writing, everything. Asking Alexandria has to start caring. I get the music industry can bleed your creativity dry after trying to survive the machine for so long, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to find a spark after you've already seen success and earned so many fans around the world. The band is on the tail end of that rock and roll party hard lifestyle where they are being left alone to spiral out. Right now, it's not great. Asking Alexandria hit another rock bottom in 2025, and unless something drastic changes the attitudes and weird excuses and Instagram apologies that don't need to happen, it's just not going to look great for a while. We're all asking, what happened to Asking Alexandria? Thank you for checking this out. Hopefully I was able to make sense about how Asking Alexandria have had a downfall, but can still turn things around. You can see the other downfall videos in a playlist in the video description. Thank you for watching this. Please hit the like button and let me know what you think about Asking Alexandria in general. Finally, here's a cat.
So I just got back into town yesterday after working Riot Fest, and Pearl here pulled me into his room and said, "You're taking a nap with me." I feel like he did miss me, but he also could just be using my body warmth to help him nap. Either way, I missed Pearl too.